Okay, this is Santa's wish, and that is to get some guided meditation to maybe learn how to meditate. So, I didn't really prepare anything. Um, I wasn't really planning to come out on the four wheeler today, but it is so gorgeous out. I just said, let's go. And also, I heard a motorcycle back here, and I thought it was on my property. And my owl started hooting, saying, "Hey, I think somebody's riding around that shouldn't be." So I hopped on my mule and came. My mule was my Kawasaki mule, side by side, and I came out. And I happened to catch the guy coming right out of my woods, which it was a great interaction. Great kid. He understands where the boundaries are now, and I'm sure we parted as friends, so it all went well. But but because my owls had been hooting, I said I have to go pay them a visit. And like I said, I'm pretty sure they've got young now. And I drove over there and I was thinking about doing this guided meditation, but because I didn't see them, I heard them from my house when this motorcycle was running around back here. And I, uh, I started to like meditate a little bit, and I'm thinking maybe I'll do that guided meditation here. This is like the most sacred spot over the flowing water, and it's the beautiful view, and the sun is beautiful. And uh, I was meditating a little bit. I was thinking about, should I set stuff up and get my phone out. And looks like maybe the owls, maybe they're off somewhere. And I looked up, and the owl was like 20 feet from me, but they didn't hoot, and it was just looking at me. And I think they've kind of grown accustomed to me. I've thrown a little bit of corn around the last couple times I've been to my meditation spot, because I'm hoping we've hunted together for decades, probably likely the same pair, and they were the first kind of critter I ran into when I acquired this property. So we're old friends, but so if I thought if I could bring some little furry creatures closer to their hunting ground for their little ones, I thought I'd do it. So anyway, when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna give it space, and kind of did a little wave to it. I tried to take a picture. It was partially obscured behind some leaves, but it was very very close. And I dumped some acorns, oak acorns, and that I still had in my garage from last fall, and pulled back out. So I came back to this beautiful spot here, and this is where I did my last video from, but a little farther up the hill. And it's such a beautiful day. My spirit guide's like, hey, anything else you want? You got to take care of somebody that you've been hearing on your property. Got to do all these beautiful things and see the owl. And so I felt obligated to go ahead and do this video. So that's a long segue into, I'll start with, I beg you to learn meditation from, Buddhic and Hindu meditator, or meditating masters, I guess I would say. Um, you know, I, I I'm a self-taught, so, and I know I don't know everything, and I enjoy meditation every day. I've kind of gotten into the habit of morning meditation, and then post-workout meditation, and sometimes I meditate during my workout, which I also do a lot of kind of yoga in my workout too. So, but I'm a big fan of it. I learned so much in meditation. I know that sounds weird, but because you're like, well, how do you quiet your mind and learn stuff? Well, it's I guess you gotta, like I said, you just gotta start somewhere. And so since I had disturbed the owls, and it's such a beautiful day, I decided to come out. But I wanted to give that disclaimer first. I am not a meditation master by any stretch, but I can tell you what I do to meditate. So the first thing you want to do is your mind and your body is connected, obviously. So you can't relax your mind and kind of open your mind. Ooh, here comes the wind. Unless you relax the body. So the easiest way to relax is to breathe. But before I even start kind of the breathing technique, or as I'm starting the breathing technique, I always stretch, and I always kind of do some of the maybe postures. I learned a little bit of yoga when I was in a rehabilitation hospital. that you can do from your wheelchair. And so some of these are probably mimic from that, but, and unfortunately I can't zoom any further back, but basically you want to kind of stretch your arms out, maybe kind of straight out, even stretch your fingers out. And as you're doing that, just open your chest up and let your lungs kind of be able to fill at their maximum capacity and get these muscles kind of, they may be a little stiff. I don't know, like, especially, like I say, I work out. So even after my workout, I do a lot of stretching as I'm, going to start, if I'm going to start to really meditate and really kind of sit kind of still for an hour or more. I do like to just stretch and just make sure, any kinks are worked out. You don't want to be, we all have nagging, as you get older especially, you have nagging pains and that kind of thing. But stretching kind of, I think it gets blood to them, it gets oxygen to places that kind of need it, and it makes your body feel better. It also releases endorphins from what I understand. So remember, I'm a banker by education and trade. So once you kind of get stretched out, for me, I can't really stretch my bottom half, but I can kind of bend and just kind of, if you're a paraplegic like me, you kind of want to stretch everything you can. So I twist. You can kind of twist your back a little bit, kind of hold it, and I know this isn't meditation, this is more stretching, but this is kind of what I do to get ready. Stretch both. What you do for one side, do it for the other. Try to keep your weights and your movements equal on both sides. That was something I learned. I had one bad shoulder and one good shoulder, and then sometimes I'd have the other good shoulder, the bad shoulder. But you want to work equally with both shoulders, and they'll rehab better if they kind of are closer together in strength. So, when you're building, you're kind of on the strength training side. Don't, if you're injured or whatever, and you got to drop some weight to get your muscles back in, that's one thing. But try to keep the same weight and the same reps on both sides. So, and usually, do them at the same time if you can, if it's symmetric. But so, all right. So, one of the things I do when I meditate is I usually don't talk. So this is kind of the tough part for me. I'm usually just, relaxing my mind, my thoughts, but I'm gonna kind of have to narrate. So make sure your shoulders are nice and loose, kind of move them back and forth. Roll them both ways, make sure they're loose, and your neck especially. I can only feel down my back or in front, I guess, to about the belly button, go all the way around my body. So I at least want to make sure my upper body is very, loose, and so I can sit comfortably, and my weight is distributed as evenly as possible. So, and I like putting my hands together, and sometimes I flare my elbows out like that and just kind of give some resistance and hold that for a little bit. That also kind of helps stretch your muscles out, get you relaxed. And there's a lot of pollen in the air, so I'm gonna drink a little bit of water before I go too far. All right, so you should be able, even if you say you can't do meditations, you can at least kind of do those things to just kind of relax a little bit, and then we can kind of just start breathing. Make sure your nose is clear, not to get gross. I'll not pick my nose on video to gross anybody out, but just make sure you got your nasal passages are clear, because you want to be breathing through your nose and out your mouth as much as you can, and as you that's the way you want to breathe from that point forward when you're meditating. So, again, this is Brian, not a guru master. So I like to do sets of at least 5 when I'm doing breathing. So I found the best way to do it is, slow breathe in, hold for, not the length of time that you do on a slow inhale, but hold it for a few seconds, and then exhale at about the same rate that you inhaled. So your body gets used to kind of this flow, because normally your body breathes just fine without you thinking about it. But when you're focusing on breath and you're going to take control of breath, then that you're kind of taking control. So set your breath, so your body can get into that state that it needs to be to be able to meditate, the most, or the best, I guess, in my opinion. So we're gonna do 5 deep breaths in and 5 deep breaths out. And instead of me kind of talking through all that, you can hear me breathe, but just breathe with me if you're doing this at home. So and I do like to kind of get into that, not lotus position because I can't do my legs, but the upper body lotus position, I'll call it, and because it just distributes, it seems to distribute weight. It gets my neck good, and just makes you feel good. So, and like I say, so get ready, and we're going to do 5 breaths in, hold for a few seconds, and then let it out, and then I guess I'll start talking again after that if I'm not somewhere else. So here we go. And you don't have to just stay at just 5 because it starts to feel good. And if it feels good, go ahead and keep breathing. Because what you're doing is trying to just get your mind into a relaxed kind of state so you can just kind of open it up. And sometimes I breathe in kind of aggressively just to get my lungs expanded, and then make sure they go back to shrink as small as they can. Really kind of exercising your lungs. Now it's, like I say, it's pollen season, but I'm outside all the time, and I don't seem, since I've been living outside all the time, pollen doesn't seem to be as bad for me. So so I'm comfortable breathing in deep. But if you obviously take precautions if you're allergic or hyperallergenic. So all right, as you can tell, I get sidetracked a lot when I'm trying to say anything about anything, but this is when I think that I hit the start button. And a lot of people say they can't meditate because they can't rest their minds, which the Sadhguru is one of the gurus that I've listened to a lot, and he talks about monkey brain. They all talk about monkey brain. And but if you learn to just, like anything, you got to learn what to do, and you just put those things away. And the technique that I learned early to try to protect from monkey brain was, have I looked at whatever I'm worrying about, because it's usually a worry, a fear, or an ego thing. Have I got all the information that I can possibly know about it at this point? And have I thought about every possible option of what could happen at this point? And if so, then put it to bed, because there's no sense to keep thinking about it. So once I kind of had that agreement with my mind, then I could put things away. And because I knew there was no other reason. Now, sometimes in meditation, you come up with a solution to whatever your monkey brain was barking at you. But that's not all the time. Sometimes you just go off to another place, and then those things will be back there tomorrow. And but it's usually, if you've done everything you can, then there's no reason to worry. So so that helps with meditation too, because I think a lot of people's active mind is a worried mind. So this helps. Maybe that's one of the ways meditation helps deal with anxiety. So, and like I say, you'd be surprised what you can, when you're meditating. Like I know I talk about physics a lot. A lot of those physics guys came up with what they came up with in meditation. So that is an incentive, maybe you can unlock some things that you never thought you were capable of. So again, sorry, down the rabbit hole. So I do a bunch of different types of meditations. I think I've talked about in detail my out-of-body experience and that kind of thing. and I've kind of, there's varying degrees of that. But you can get a sense of out of body. For me, usually it's a sense of floating. Um, I always meditate, usually with my eyes shut. And maybe it's also partially because I'm a paraplegic, but I can get kind of a sense of just floating in just water when I'm meditating, and really getting out of, like, putting my body, recognize that it'll be fine. I can get right back to it, but I can, let my consciousness kind of go out in other places. And so those type of meditations, Rosalie, yoga with Rosalie or something like that. Gosh, I forgot that wrong. She's very good on some guided meditations. That's why I felt inadequate to try to do a guided meditation, because she's so good at it. I recommend her. And like I said, I've learned meditation from so many sources. It's hard, but there's all you got to do is Google. God, we live in the greatest age ever. Information literally at our fingertips. So, kind of looked them up, and now I'll get back to trying to teach you not to have this kind of brain when you're trying to meditate. So breathing, we did that. I don't know about you, but my body feels real good. Hopefully you kept breathing as you're through it, because you're kind of wanting to set your body at a certain relaxed state. And if you're gonna, if your body is calm and relaxed, your mind can do more than what it can if it's monitoring what's going on with my body. I also will meditate to music. I listen to music sometimes. Most of the time when I'm working out, I do podcasts sometimes as well, because I'm always learning. It's kind of my spiritual journey has been the hows and whys of everything. So that takes a lot of time to learn. So I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff. And look, when you're really engaged in something like music, if it's an emotional connection you have with that music from childhood, or you associating it with your milestones in your life, it can help you, put you in that relaxed state. I learned when I was getting my master's degree many years ago that if I needed to write a paper, I would play Pink Floyd, The Wall, or The Dark Side of the Moon, or both. And then I would write my paper. And this is after, I'd read everything I thought I needed to read to put together some coherent thoughts. And I just went someplace else and wrote my paper. And I wasn't even hearing this music that I had listened to and enjoyed, for a long time. But it entertained that part of my mind, where I could just totally focus like a laser on writing a paper and putting together the thoughts and that kind of thing. And so I learned to do that when I write anyway. I've written a lot of stuff, through getting my degrees, and, Maryland Banker School and some other things. So I listen to music a lot when I'm trying to compose my thoughts. And that works with meditation too. There was a guy that was a proponent of that, basically using sound and music, to enhance things like meditation. So, okay, let me get back. See, I told you I was going to not be good at this. Breathing, and then what's your meditation for? If it's just to learn to meditate, then I'd just say when you start to get off the track, go right back to breath. And then just all you do is just focus on your breath. I'm breathing in, I'm holding it a little, and then I'm breathing it out. I'm breathing it in, I'm holding it a little, and I'm breathing it out. And all of a sudden, whatever your monkey brain was out, it'll slip away. And then maybe something that's been on your mind for the last 6 months, all of a sudden you see a solution to it. It's that, for me, meditation is kind of that kind of step. Once I kind of surrender to it, I guess, it rewards you with an idea, or it tells, the spirit guide connection is another, form of meditation too. And I really got that when I was, really connecting, figuring out what this crazy spirit guide was all about. And and that helped me, be able to communicate. And now, my spirit guide and I are kind of inseparable at this point. So I don't usually do like a spirit guide connection meditation, but early on I did, and that was Yoga Nidra, I believe. Just an excellent guided meditation that really, when you come out of a meditation and you go, wow, that was that was something. Um, you know, you'll start to do it more, I think, too. So, um, also set your intention. I guess that's another thing I would say about meditation. So, um, you want to set a positive intention for whatever you want. This three-dimensional time space is free will. So it seems to me the better, let's not to get into discussion of karma, but the better karma you can put out, the way more fun your life is usually. Um, so set your intention with meditation as well. So you don't want it to harm anybody, but you want it to connect with, it's a way to connect with people or understand people. Or if you've had a conflict with somebody and you're like, why, how did this go wrong, you know meditate and just say, hey, can somebody, here's the situation. Can somebody give me some ideas of what might have went wrong with this friend that I had, and now we hate each other. I don't have a lot of experience with that. I have very few friends that aren't still friends. There's a couple, but very few. um, but anyway, that's how you kind of get rid of some of that stuff. If it's eating your brain up, then go, hey, ask for help. We're not alone. That's something that should give us all great comfort. If we're living many lives, it doesn't end with this one for sure. You look around, I don't think we've learned everything we need to learn yet. Um, we've got a ways to go. But maybe we're close. These things, maybe they happen quickly, once you get to a certain critical mass. So, but I'm going to leave with maybe just trying to meditate, and I'll shut up, and you can look at my face, and it looks like the sun's going down right behind me, which is kind of cool. Um, and I'll just let it run for a little bit. I can always edit it out, but I'll just kind of you can kind of look at me when I meditate. Know that I've kind of described my mindset of how I really started to really get into it. Especially a morning meditation when you first wake up, before you even move. You can get into a comfortable position after you first wake up. But I use a half an hour is kind of my rule, but I meditate for like a half an hour, and I just think about, okay, what do I have going on today? What do I need to get done? What are my adult responsibilities? And then, what do I want to do with the rest of my day? And I try to learn something every day. So whether that's through a podcast or listen to, watching something on YouTube if I'm not out, um, and I try to do something kind every day. And that, even if that's just hugging my dog after my workout. He's gotten spoiled where, and I'm starting to brush him and give him massages, just because I know he loves it, and he's brown and he's warm and he's cuddly. So, but as in that meditation, you want, try to think about what things would make your life better, what's going to make your day better, what's going to make this week better, what'll make this month better, and just kind of get yourself into that intention of, this is where I am in the simulation. It's not where I want to be. We're never satisfied. We won't be till the very end, I promise. But at least, you're being proactive, and you're thinking about it, and you're asking for help, and, you ask for forgiveness, and you forgive others, and, it's all those things that, should start to, you start to see miracles happening along with your meditation and your goodwill, and you're sending out your, that the expression sending out vibration, is a perfect way to describe it. You start to just kind of vibe at a higher level. You don't get angry as much, and you understand people way better than you used to because you start to learn about things like ego and fear and, karma and, all these things that you're like, oh, wow, yeah, it's pretty easy to see. Everybody's pretty much the same. It's just how they kind of handle the challenges that are put in front of them. So, but anyway, I will cap it off here. I didn't expect to go this long. I don't even know if I have much memory in my phone. But I would be remiss if I didn't just still, meditate for just a little bit anyway. Because I'm going to thank my spirit guide for forcing me to do this kind of stuff, and Santa for Santa's wish, and just kind of appreciate what a beautiful day it's been. I gotta get a video of that owl up so you guys can see it. But okay. Okay, I'm not sure if that did you any good, but just a couple things. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a lawnmower off in the distance. So when I was starting to kind of really meditate and relax into meditation, I recognize I can hear it, and it's not what you really want to hear when you're out in the woods. But I also recognize it sounds just like white noise, and I listen to white noise sometimes to fall asleep. So if it's not annoying for me to fall asleep to, then I can easily kind of let that go and not focus. And I forgot I didn't hear it anymore after that at a certain point. And I also, I don't know if it got caught on audio, but a bird landed very close. It might have landed on one of these limbs right off my roll cage here. But I had my, I was kind of focused with my eyes closed, and I keep my eyes closed typically in meditation. But I could sense where the bird was based on its wing, the sound of its wings when it's landed, and then when it shifted position. But I didn't really break out of my meditation. It's okay, you're still, you don't have to leave the present. Sometimes you do, but it's okay to just take in, especially in a natural environment, because it just feels, it's no big deal. It's a bird, so it's not. I don't have to look to make sure it's gonna claw me or, it's nothing to fear. It's just you're sitting with nature, and there's birds in nature. So, and if you were wondering what happened when you went, when you're meditating, especially that briefly, and for me, for that particular meditation, I kind of just started to see like a purple violet ball or sphere or image, and it was just a very good feeling. And I think I may have asked for some healing and keep me healthy. And thank you for helping me along if you're helping me with this video. And thanks for this day and this life. And I don't know how long I'm going to stay here and let people just look at me kind of doing nothing, but and then I ended the meditation. So, and you probably noticed too, I moved around a lot. I don't usually, when I'm meditating, it's for longer, and the most comfortable position I can get in outside of a bed is when I tip my wheelchair back. So I have head and neck support, and I do that on the corner of my deck at my home, or in a corner of a room. I can do it actually if it's bad weather. So that is when I don't move it around as much, and that's usually if you want to do an out of body, you can't move like that, typically, or I haven't been able to. You really kind of want to be in a complete where every muscle is supported, and you're jelly into whatever you're laying into. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would be pertinent to do with meditation. Intention, positive energy, you're protected is the other thing. I don't know if you're a believer in demons or the devil or that kind of stuff, but you're part of God, so you have God's protection. You can call upon it at any time, and if there's been these concepts created, and if it's thought of, it can exist, kind of thing. Doesn't mean you have to put any stock or energy in it. So just keep your intentions loving. Doesn't mean you can't have fun in life, but try to do the right thing for everybody all the time. So, but that's part of what meditation. If you start learning yoga and yogic meditation, I think it's probably, if I had the time, and I would do that. I'm kind of a solo flying through my space here, but do that. That's the smart way to go. Don't listen to a guy like me on YouTube about meditation. Go learn from people that the best ones that I learned from, so, or of their ilk. So, all right, peace and love. I'm gonna cut this short and hope that I hit the play button or the record button. So, love you. Peace.